On the crisp afternoon of November 24, 1971, a man boarded a Northwest Orient Airlines flight from Portland to Seattle. He was polite, unremarkable, and dressed in a modest dark suit with a neatly folded tie. Yet, he carried with him an extraordinary plan, a plan that would make him one of the most legendary figures in American criminal history. This man, forever known as D.B. Cooper, would hijack the plane, demand $200,000 in cash, vanish into the night, and leave behind a mystery that has persisted for over 50 years. Tonight, we explore the story of D.B. Cooper, the man, the daring heist, the investigation, and the enduring enigma that continues to fascinate investigators, writers, and dreamers alike. Witnesses describe D.B. Cooper as a calm, confident man in his early 40s. He purchased a one-way ticket for a short flight, carrying a small black briefcase. He appeared composed, exuding a sense of understated authority, and no one suspected that he might be planning something extraordinary. Passengers recalled a man polite and unassuming, offering smiles and lighting a cigarette with casual confidence. Flight attendants noted that he carried himself with quiet precision, folding his briefcase neatly and checking the time. Yet beneath this ordinary exterior lay a mind calculating every detail: timing, altitude, escape routes, and contingencies. Cooper had studied the Boeing 727, its rear stairway, and the potential drop zone carefully. What seemed to the world like an ordinary man would soon become one of the most daring criminals in U.S. history. Shortly after takeoff, D.B. Cooper handed a folded note to flight attendant Mary. In it, he claimed to have a bomb in his briefcase. His demands were clear: $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes. Cooper's demeanor was calm and polite throughout the interaction. He did not shout, threaten, or display aggression. He simply stated his case, allowing the flight crew to understand the seriousness of the situation. Authorities in Seattle quickly complied with his demands. The ransom money carefully counted, and parachutes were delivered to the airport. Meanwhile, Cooper instructed the crew to release all passengers, keeping only a small group of flight attendants and pilots on board. As night fell, the plane took off again, heading south toward Mexico City. Somewhere over the dense forests and rolling hills of the Pacific Northwest, D.B. Cooper made his fateful jump. The conditions were harsh: dark clouds, heavy wind, and freezing temperatures. Cooper stepped out of the rear stairway, his briefcase and parachute secure. For the briefest moment, he became one with the night sky. No one saw him land. No trace was left behind, except the imagination of the investigators and the haunting possibility of survival. FBI agents immediately launched a massive search. Helicopters scoured forests, rivers, and hills. Teams on foot combed the rugged terrain, but nothing was found. No footprints, no bodies, no equipment, only the lingering mystery of a man who had vanished without a trace. The FBI launched Operation Skyhook, dedicating years and millions of dollars to the case. They interviewed hundreds of witnesses, analyzed thousands of tips, and scrutinized every detail of the plane, the passenger list, and the ransom money. The investigation was meticulous. Agents studied the plane's flight plan, altitude, and speed. They reviewed weather conditions and topography to determine possible landing zones. Volunteers and military personnel were brought in to attempt reconstructions of Cooper's jump. But the dense forests and rugged terrain made recovery nearly impossible. In 1980, a young boy discovered $5,800 of the ransom cash buried along the Columbia River, the serial numbers matching those of the money given to Cooper. This find deepened the mystery. Was the money from a failed escape, or had Cooper intentionally hidden it to retrieve later? Over the decades, hundreds of suspects were considered. Some were eliminated due to alibis. Others were investigated due to circumstantial evidence. Among the more notable, Richard Floyd McCoy, a Vietnam veteran and experienced parachutist whose later hijacking bore similarities to Cooper's crime. However, he was in prison at the time of the original hijacking. Kenneth Christensen, a former paratrooper with knowledge of jump techniques. whose movements after the hijacking raised suspicions. William J. Smith, a man with a history of daring escapes and criminal activity, briefly considered but never conclusively linked. Many theories focused on Cooper's survival skills. Was he a former military paratrooper trained for precise jumps? Did he know the forests well enough to evade capture? Could he have changed identity and blended into society seamlessly? Despite these speculations, no evidence definitively confirmed any theory. D.B. Cooper remains as elusive today as the night he disappeared. Part of the fascination lies in Cooper's audacity and the calm precision of his plan. He was polite, nonviolent toward passengers, and calculated in every move, a criminal who became a folk hero in the public imagination. Psychologists suggest that part of the legend's appeal is the fantasy of escape. Cooper embodies the ultimate slip away from society archetype, a man who bypassed authority, disappeared, and left the world guessing. For investigators, the legend remains a puzzle. For the public, it represents the thrill of mystery, the allure of rebellion, and the seductive idea that some crimes are so perfectly executed that they defy resolution. D.B. Cooper's crime had lasting implications. Airlines across the United States implemented new security measures to prevent similar hijackings. The Boeing 727 was fitted with a Cooper vane, a device that locks the rear stairway in flight to prevent anyone from jumping out. Airline security protocols were revised, including increased scrutiny of passengers, improved emergency procedures, and enhanced communication between crews and authorities. In a way, Cooper's audacity changed aviation forever. The man who vanished left not only a mystery, but also a legacy in airline safety and policy. D.B. Cooper's story has permeated popular culture. Films, documentaries, podcasts, and books have all explored his daring heist. Some portray him as a shadowy folk hero, others as a dangerous criminal. The case has inspired thrillers and speculative fiction, but the facts remain simple: a hijacking, a ransom, and a vanishing act. The fascination endures because it is a story of possibility, a reminder that in 1971, a man could leap into the unknown and remain unseen. Even today, amateur investigators revisit files, review newspaper archives, and follow tips, hoping for a breakthrough. Each year, the legend grows, fueled by imagination and the enduring desire to solve the unsolvable. D.B. Cooper's fate is unknown. Whether he survived the jump or perished in the forests, he remains an enigma, a symbol of daring and mystery. For some, he is a folk hero. For others, a cautionary tale. But the truth lies somewhere in between. A man whose careful planning, audacity, and luck created a story that continues to captivate and inspire curiosity. The mystery of D.B. Cooper reminds us that even in the modern world, some puzzles remain unsolved. And perhaps it is the unsolved mysteries, the questions without answers, that continue to captivate us most.